Hey, AP students, this is Mr. Wood, and we're looking at the lesson for Monday, April 20th today. All right, so today's plan is, there should only be one video today, hopefully we won't get to two. We are going to look at how to write the DBQ. So let's get right into our agenda and checklist and what needs to be done. All right, for Unit 3 review, here's just a checklist to make sure you're done with everything. Number one, make sure all your notes are done for the Unit 3 review. And again, do not do the SAQ or LEQ that was attached on that. All right, and you'll find that right here. Also, your Unit 3 DBQ is right here where you can read the documents. And you have the big group graphic organizer right here where you can fill out your part with your name on it. I know it's like 120 pages, but you can find where your name is on there. It's in alphabetical order, okay? So, and make sure those should be done already. Then, last video we had for our last class was the Heimler graphic organizer where we began working on that. And we did that for Friday's class. And we're going to use this again today as we are going to look at actually writing our DBQ. All right, let's get back to our checklist there. And so here is basically what needs to be done. All of this should be done already. If you're behind, get caught up. All right, so make sure you get the Heimler way graphic organizer done. Make sure that you get the Unit 3 DBQ done. And to write your DBQ is going to be due at Tuesday at 11:59, the Unit 3 5-document DBQ based on what our AP exam will actually be like. And lastly, I'm just going to give you a little head start on here. I've also attached on the website, I put on there the Unit 4 notes and the DBQ on there. So the DBQ is attached. The notes, watch the Heimler video for Unit 4 review and take notes on Unit 4, and that needs to be done by Wednesday at 11:59. All right, well, let's go ahead and why don't we look at our Heimler graphic organizer that I made for you, and we're going to take off, we're going to continue where we left off last time. So we had just finished our context and our thesis statement, and we are pretty much ready to write with our rubric here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, and I'm also just going to open up a document because you're going to turn in your DBQ on turnitin.com. So why don't you go ahead and open up a new Google Doc. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split screen it here. So I have both of them. I have the Heimler way graphic organizer that we were looking at, and I'm also going to be looking at my Google Doc over here. So let's take a look at how we are going to write this. So we're going to start off with our context, actually. And our context we put up here. And the suggestion was from actually Steve Heimler when he wrote his context was to make sure that you include at least 3 main vocab words in your context. So we'll get to how you can write that in just a moment. All right, I got my title right there. I got my heading right there. And now I am pretty much ready to go. All right, so let's begin with how I'm going to do my context. And we'll look at the grading for this as well, because I'm actually going to grade this DBQ using the rubric that is on here. All right, so I'll go over that rubric with you right now. So here we go. Here's what the basic rubric is going to look like, that how I will be grading you. It is going to be worth a total of 12 points. And you are going to be able from 10 to 12 points to 4.0, 7 to 9 for a 3.5, and 5 to 6 for a 3.0. Tomorrow I will be giving you an option, and you know what? I'm just going to add a point down here now that I think about it. Grading another student's DBQ. And I'm just going to make that a +1 if you do that. And that might not seem like much, but a 1 point could make a pretty big difference on here. So if you grade and evaluate another classmate's DBQ, I'm going to give you an extra point. Just add it on there. So to make sure if you're doing your work, you'll be rewarded for it. All right, so let's get into how do we write this DBQ now. So let's start with our context. And we've always done context, and I'm not going to grade it this way, but it is good to start off with a claim, as we usually have done. So I would say something like, in the era of 1200 to 1450. And our DBQ is focused on land-based empires. So I probably want to focus on that a little more. So I might say in the era of 1200 to 1450, in the era of 1200 to 1450, many empires were growing throughout the world. I might do something like this, acknowledge the bigger context. Some of these empires were maritime empires. I don't really need to capitalize that, and I can spell it right too. Were maritime empires. To speed things up, I just typed. So let me read that sentence again. In the era of 1200 to 1450, many empires were growing throughout the world. Some of these empires were maritime empires in Europe, but some of the forgotten empires that were the strongest were land-based empires located mostly in Asia. And now I'm going to take a look at these three kind of like vocab words that I put down, and I want to name drop these into my context. So let me show you how that would look. So let's see what I have there. I put down the Ming Empire of this time used the examination system to build a strong bureaucracy, while Yamen Empire built a strong military using Deversheme with enslaved Europeans. The Mughal Empire this time was also able to build a strong skill-based bureaucracy that was based on Akbar's idea of religious tolerance. Bam, context. I threw three things in there right away that are directly connected with land-based empires. Okay. Don't write exactly this. You can steal one of the ideas if you want, or maybe a couple of them, but definitely mix in some of your own ideas in this. And this is how you can get a context to begin a paper. And if we look, does this match our prompt? Our prompt we looked at yesterday said, develop an argument that evaluates the extent to which rulers of land-based empires were able to consolidate their power in the period of 1450 to 1750. Okay, so now I'm going to take that and I'm going to bring it back to our topic and into our thesis statement. So let's go ahead. Okay, so now looking at this, I am going to write, sorry about that, basically getting to my thesis here in a couple sentences if we look at this, starting right here. So I put emperors of these empires grew strong thanks to the skilled people they put around them. And I'm taking this directly from the thesis that we put down yesterday, the easy way and the hard way. Since I already wrote this in here, I kind of just cut and pasted and changed it up a little bit. And I went with the hard thesis, with the although X, because A and B, therefore Y. You don't have to do that. You can just put land-based empires were able to become strong because of blank and blank. That can work for a thesis statement. I'm going for a little more advanced one. I'm going for a complexity point. So again, let's go look at what I have here. Emperors of these empires grew strong thanks to skilled people they put around them. And although maritime empires, which gained resources from the Americas, were dominant of this era of 1450 to 1750, back to the top where I mentioned maritime empires, assuring myself context, maybe even a reader might give me outside evidence because of that. Land-based empires displayed and consolidated their power in this era as well. They were able to do this by blank and blank, which led their empires to become larger-than-life figures. Now, the blank might be building a strong military, having educated people around them, whatever I would have put for my topics. So you can use some ideas from this, but this is basically an opening paragraph that can get you two of the first points for thesis and context, and even has you set up with the possibility of argument complexity. And I'm doing that by making a comparison in this DBQ between land-based empires and maritime empires, which also allows me the possibility of getting outside evidence. All right, now let's go look at our body paragraphs, and we've practiced these many times. These are basically your topics, which you're going to say now. So I can open up with my topic, whatever you have down here, with your topic and your documents. And here's an opening sentence that can work for that. Land-based empires were able to consolidate power by building a strong military. That could be one of my topics. Now, what am I going to use? I'm going to use my main idea first. Then I could possibly attach some outside evidence if I want, and I can do HAP if I want. So I'll review some points on this as I do it. All right, so let's take a look here. Document number 1 shows how Shah Abbas of the Safavid Empire is the leader of a strong military and has strong military leaders himself as well. This impresses people of Europe like Father Paul Simon, who is writing to the Pope about him. Now, what did I get for points on that? If I go down here and I look at this. All right, so it says here, right here for my evidence, uses the context of 2 documents to address the prompt. So if I have this is 1, I need 1 more to get that point. Over here, 2 points for supports an argument in response to the prompt using 2 documents. Basically, I can get 2 points if I have 2 documents where I really explain, not just use them, but really give the main idea of them. I'm halfway there. I'm halfway to 2 points already. And if I do this for 4 documents, I'm going to get 3 points, which is, there's the 3 right there, which is pretty awesome. All right, let me show you what I'm going to do next, and I'll explain how this works with our points. All right, so let's look what I got here now, what I've added here. And this is from what I kind of wrote yesterday. Father Paul Simon believes that the Shah is running a strong military, almost as good as Europe, and is communicating this to the Pope. This is an impressive leader that they should respect. This could be to build an alliance against the powerful Ottomans, or it could be out of fear of not wanting conflict with the Safavids. I am now giving point of view, potentially audience even here, on my HAP steps. So I have the main idea, ding. Now I have HAP, or doing like a higher level thinking skill. So how would this work with my points? Now when I get here to where it says evidence analysis, it says here for 1 point, explain why the document's point of view, purpose, historical situation, or audience is relevant to the argument. For 1 document. I only have to do it for 1 document, I get 1 point. I just got a point there. All by itself, got a point because I did one of the HAP steps with 1 document. If I do this with another one, I get another point, which is pretty awesome. I'm telling you guys, we can nail this DBQ, all right? Let me show you a little more. Let me throw in some outside evidence. All right, here we go. What I added here to give myself the outside evidence. In this era, the Safavids were one of the gunpowder empires that rose partly because of the firepower associated with cannons. Firepower, sorry. These emperors were able to get this gunpowder because of the earlier Silk Road trade where, thank you, gunpowder was traded and spread to many empires. So what I get? I just got the outside evidence point, and I got 1 of them. But here's the awesome thing about this new rubric. Right here, uses at least 1 additional piece of specific historical evidence beyond found in the documents relevant to the argument of the prompt. I just got 1 point. If I do this 1 more time in the essay, I'm going to get 2 points, which is pretty amazing. I can get 2 points for outside evidence, and I just got 1. So my job is going to be to use the other 4 documents in my 2 topics and try to get all the points that I can. So you're going to finish writing this as your assignment, which is going to be due by Tuesday at 11:59. Let's go over the scoring real quick. All right, so here's how the scoring breaks down. 1 point for context, 1 point for thesis. Using and citing 2 documents, 1 point. But if you take the main idea from 2 documents, you get another point. If you have the main idea from 4 documents, you get another point. Additional evidence, 1 piece of additional evidence, a point. 2 pieces of additional evidence, 2 points. HAP, if you use 1 HAP, you get a point. And lastly, if you use 2 docs, you get, 2 docs, if you use 2 pieces of HAP, you get 2 points. Sorry, if you HAP for 2 documents, you get 2 points. And 1 point for complexity. Almost out of time, so I'm going to say goodbye. But lastly, if you want to know how to get the complexity point, it's hard, but you may pause this and read the paragraph I have there. Here's a paragraph I could put at the end of mine, going back to maritime empires, getting the complexity point. You can try to connect it some other way, a comparison, causation, or showing a change over time. Go ahead and get writing. I'm going to put some more on this for tomorrow's video. I will see you guys soon.